Hello everybody and welcome back to the Dumbass class with me, the Dyslexic Gamer. As we carry on our tabletop RPG series, Dark Heresy of Men and Monster, with our GMJ. So do you want to take it away?
Yes. First of all, apologies for me being late. Slight inconvenience. Um, when we last left our players, they were heading towards the world that at this point of the course of their travel has been dark for about a year. No signals that was sent to the world have received a reply. No signals independently were sent from the system. Nobody knows what happens. Nobody else was yet willing to investigate, so your Inquisitor, Magnus Bloodstone, has wisely decided to go check out what happened after the initial rumor of archaeotech being found on the planet, what was led to the initial breakdown of communications. And with that, we return, as I believe you just entered the system.
So I think Magnus was on the bridge at when we last left off. Or was he in his office? I can't remember now.
I think we left off as we were travelling, so we've just arrived. So it's up to you where he is.
Yeah, no, because we had done all those knowledge rolls and everything, hadn't we? Yes. So yeah, Magnus would probably have been informed prior to the exit, and Magnus would then tell everyone else to meet him on the bridge once we enter the system, so we can discuss what is happening.
The captain, the navigator, the astropath, the tiger, and Lieutenant Second in Command when it comes to security have all gathered in the bridge.
You know, courteously, but he will give Tiger and the captain a small nod of his head, and so Captain, is there anything on sensors at this moment?
We have scanned all frequencies that are used for Imperial Fox communications. We have not picked up anything, nor any astropathic messages from the planet. Correct? The ship's observer. Yes, that is correct. No astropathic messages have been sent during our flight or now. A relatively developed world, so at least a small astropathic choir of 15 men would be on planet in case the planetary governor or any other position of power on the planet would wish to communicate outside of the system with the rest of the Imperium.
So, not a small number, and for them to have gone quiet and to well, Magnus kind of gestures, to remain so is deeply troubling. I shall have to ask Sister Sarah if she knows of anything, or the old man for that fact. What would cause them to, or what would prevent them from sending a signal? Out of curiosity, I am aware of warp storms can prevent signals from being sent, but
We are currently not in a warp storm. We have been briefed on the effect of what is called the shadow of the warp, but in that case, me and my brethren, the astropath points to him, the navigator here in particular, would be in serious agony right now, and such is not the case. Perhaps something on planet is blocking transmissions, or the tiger here cuts him, or the possibility that we suspect is that simply everybody on the planet is dead.
Ain't that a lovely thought?
That, or at least any personnel capable of monitoring Vox communications or astropathic messages.
but for them to go quiet into the night without such as a murmur, that does trouble me, and I would like to know the opinions of those who can sense messages from afar. They would have, if they could have, sent a message, so I'm just...
Unless they have or perished, or we are dealing with a secessionist movement, which appear as if they have been slain by an unknown threat.
What if the choir was damaged?
Possible, but we are also not receiving any Vox communications. Those are not dependent on the astropath.
Very well then, I would... Magnus turns to the captain. From my understanding, we cannot actively scan the system without giving away our position. Is that correct?
Correct, sir.
I'd like you to actively scan the system. I want to see if there is any debris out there in space. If there was a battle, that would at least give us some ideas from further out. I don't particularly want to walk in blind.
Would you like the vessel of our troops to also scan the system, my lord?
Oh, I would like your ship to remain in the dark for now. If anyone should decide to investigate who is probing the system, they may be surprised once they find that there are two ships. For now, I'd like to keep you as an ace in the hole, if you don't mind, but thank you for the suggestion, Tiger. managed to collect yourself, if you could probe the immaterium and see if you can find anything there. Sister Sarah, I would appreciate it if you could check the cognate units on the population of this system. A bit more information would possibly help us here. Brother Felicia, if you could also do the same, but for the Adeptus Mechanicus.
I've already done it. Off time, I'll say.
Alright.
Just as that kind of thing, Octane could barely do the range of like 3 of our ships.
Yeah, Oftain, as you scan the local area with your Cynicians, the warp is calm here. If anything happened on the planet, you must be closer.
So, what would be the test Magnus asked me to do?
I assume mine's Adeptus Mechanicus.
Yeah, so pretty much as soon as Magnus stops talking, I'll just say, I've already done it. Nothing's off nearby, but I don't know what's happening on the planet.
Magnus has a little smile on his face, and well done, old man. I would expect if a few million people up and died all at once, you might have heard something, that's all.
Detects the approximate direction of Magnus. And the approximate detection of the tiger. And the astropath and the navigator.
And the approximate void of me.
Actually, not you. You just don't show up.
Yeah, but you know, I blacken the area around me, so there's just this conspicuous
If you're standing,
nothingness.
if you're standing close enough to dampen his psychic potential, Cynicians could technically notice you. But if you're outside that area of influence, you just don't exist in Cynicians.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
all perception or all willpower as well, so I can't
Technically
see you.
speaking, to an astropath's near sense, you just don't exist. And those are the guys who see you in the warp. The actual rule, at least in Rogue Trader, is if an untouchable walks into an astropath's zone of view, the astropath can't see him.
Unless the null actively dampens the warp powers, in which case the astropath might notice that something in his area of view is dampening his powers.
At which point he's just casting spells around himself. Or powers, rather.
Details.
Alright, what do I need to roll? Adeptus Mechanicus?
Magnus, did you ask him to check the cognita units?
Yes, to do some investigating about what... Essentially, I want them to find out for their individual groups, so like the Adeptus Mechanicus, Sororitas, or how many people, how much tackle was in this system. Was there just a few Mechanicus? Was there just a small Ministorum outpost?
Okay, so this is using the cognites to gather data from their respective organizations
Tech
on
use.
data on the system. Yeah, so that would be tech use.
Same for me?
Yes.
Okay.
Felicia, the cognitative units would show that though this planet was not a forge world or technically under Mechanicus rule, the Mechanicus presence had recently increased significantly due to the rumors that a piece of archaeotech had been found in the system. Records indicate that at least one Archmagos of unspecified specialization of the Ordo Joras was in system and on planet. Sarah, you would know that that a small minor ordo of one of the convents, specifically a Ordo Hospitale, was on the planet, as is customary for for technically still frontier worlds that need proper maintenance of faith and health.
There was an Archmagos of Ordo Juras on the planet. However, numbers were higher than normal anyway due to the rumors of Archaeotech.
Thank you both. I was
To be clear, this is also they found this information out over a couple of hours.
sure. Yeah, that's fine.
We didn't have like me roll a 1 where I find out the entire history of the planet in 5 minutes.
You also get a message from the captain stating that so far the scan of the system, as it stands now, they have not picked up any debris or any signal of any capacity, not even of planetary communications to other locations on the planet.
Are there any records of this planet having a spaceport? Or any sort of orbital stations?
Records exist that this planet had a orbital shipyards capable of producing lunar-class cruisers.
Is said shipyard around to be seen?
It is still orbiting the planet, as sensors can still pick it up, but it has also gone completely dark. There's no signal coming from it, but the ship can detect that it is still in orbit of the planet.
Well, at least the shipyard's still here.
Yes, but
There is a half-finished lunar-class cruiser in the shipyard as well.
Captain, set a course. No. Okay. So Magnus would be on the bridge for this whole 2 hours. In fact, he won't leave until we've made a decision for now. There's just a small pile of... in fact, no, he's probably got a servo skull or a servitor to just stand there with an ashtray as he just lights low stick after low stick. Well, Captain, how far into the system would we have to get more accurate auger readings on... It seems funny to me that what force did you say an explorator force had come here, or just an Archmagos?
I'd have relayed everything I told, but I mentioned the Archmagos. I don't think I saw anything about an explorator force. It was an Archmagos of Ordo Juras.
Okay.
With his own retinue.
With his own retinue, okay.
Yes, which included an Arch Mechanicus.
An Archmagos doesn't travel on his own. He would have had significant forces with him. And yet there's no sign of them. There's no sign of any debris. I would like to know if a ship battle occurred here, or if, once we get close enough to get scans of the planet, if we're just going to find everyone gone. either way, I would... Captain, please take us into the system and keep the auger arrays scanning.
I will command my men to follow as well, running silent.
Yes, of course, Tiger. Apologies for not bringing that up. Yes, I would very much like you to continue your silent running, just in case we need you.
I will tell them in case this is an ambush to ready the boarding torpedoes.
Excellent idea. That would definitely give our would-be enemy something to think about.
Ashtray service code, brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Essential.
It is currently flying slightly lower than normal due to the huge amount of ash that is currently in its ashtray.
I've probably by now put my low stick pack on top of it and put my lighter next to it, and I'm just pacing up and down thinking.
The servo skull starts blinking its eye, and another servo skull with a ashtray on top of it flies up, while the original one flies off as well.
Magnus is just pacing, muttering to himself.
You go further into the system.
Do you know what it reminds me of? Zeno, have you turned up the thingy boost?
I did not.
I'm just gonna quickly find out what it's called.
I really have no clue what you're talking about.
But it sounds like your microphone boost is up too high.
To be honest, I am getting static when most people talk now, so I think it's got more to do with...
I've got
Discord.
Discord open, and it's like every time one of us starts talking, it's Zena's mic that starts going like, yeah, I'm screaming something out.
I have echo cancellation on. I have noise suppression on.
I don't think it's any of them.
Hmm.
I just thought it
It
might have.
is most definitely you, yes. Every time one of us speaks, we get static back.
Just thought it might have been that you turned up the microphone boost, and that's done it weird. Because if you got a microphone boost too high, it breaks it.
I mean, I have it 100%, but on the other computer. This should not be a thing here. Actually,
Could we plugged in correctly?
is it any better now?
You need to speak at the same time as someone else.
I don't.
Speak,
No, he doesn't.
speak.
No. Every time one of us speaks, we get return. Do you have a new headset, or is your microphone
No,
near
it's-
your headset?
It's the same as it always was. I literally have no clue. Never happened before. I don't know why it's happening now.
Interesting.
If you want to know what it sounds like, at some point, just open up this stream, it'll come through on there.
Very odd.
Let's try and work through it.
Would it be possible for you to put push to talk on?
I can.
Because it is definitely coming through as if your headset is picking up other people's talking.
It's weird though. But yeah, I'm on push to talk now.
We
Alright,
will
let's
see if
try
that
it.
fixes it.
I am not receiving any static at the moment.
What if now? What if I have an open mic?
I don't know.
No static at the moment.
Don't hear
Let's keep
anything.
trying. Aside from the wait, no.
Let's
it's-
figure this out another time.
Yeah,
Because right
let's-
now we're taking session time.
Let's go. So, observatory ashtray. Let's
Yes.
continue from there.
And the fact that there is a second one and that they swap out one gets too heavy. Anyway, the captain orders the engines to go not full burn, but steady on ahead as you go further into the system closer to the planet. All the while keeping full sensor arrays up everywhere, but not really detecting anything that you didn't already know that was there.
And then eventually we get over the planet.
Once you are like, after a day or so of travel, the planet was pretty much on the edge of the system, still habitable, pretty hot sun. The sensors do start to pick up something somewhere near the sun, but the sun's own just massive radiation is interfering with the signals they can pick up from it.
Can I try and pick it up? Like more accurately?
Sure.
So it's that tech use plus whatever the ship's got as its thingy.
Magnus, could you tell what the sensor capabilities of
That
the
would be
storm
a
shield are?
plus 15 for detection.
And I don't get my mechadendrite, do I?
You do not get bonuses from your mechadendrites. Seven degrees of success. You focus the sensors in a way that only a Mechanicus can.
Just in
Specifically-
case, Jay, there's actually, I did only just saw this, the ship suffers a -1 to speed and -5 to detection and movability when out of combat, so that should be 40. It's still a massive pass, but it should be a 40.
Wait, what?
Instead of a target of 98, it will be a target of 93.
Yeah, sorry, it was the target that comes down, not the roll.
All right.
Okay, so I put in a plus 15, so I was confused.
You
Yeah.
focus the sensors in a way that only a Mechanicus can, having a bit of a hunch, knowing that there was an Arc Mechanicus in the system, but having picked up no trait of it. You scan specifically for something you hope it is not, but you do indeed pick up what is near the sun, only barely visible with the sensors. It is the ruined remain of the backside of an Arc Mechanicus slowly drifting closer to the sun until it will eventually be burned in it. It is too close to possibly recover.
There you go, Magnus. Now it's the energy signature. It appears that the Magos probably didn't make it.
By the throne. Magnus lights another low stick. Okay. put it noted in the ship's log. Once we have a bit more data on perhaps how this happened, we'll send a message back. Is there any way we can recover it?
It's too close to even start to recover it. Would be putting our ship at unacceptable risk. Recovery ships wouldn't be able to take the heat. It would require us using the ship itself to push them into orbit. And it's such a close range. By the time we get there, it might be within the sun itself already.
Is there... So, Jay, instead of Magnus asking this and getting told to don't be stupid, life pods and basically life pods, they're not a massive thing on 40k ships, are they? There's a few for the senior staff.
Yes.
They would give off a locator beacon, wouldn't they, like they do in Star Trek? I'm not entirely sure at this point.
Life pods and drop pods are basically the same thing, all things considered.
They would probably have some sort of locator beacon.
They would have a manually activatable beacon as to avoid detection by hostile forces to the system.
And any of them that are sufficiently fancy that they get little thrusters can be detected using the power source that powers the thrusters.
Okay. Now, Captain, is there any way to figure out where the other half of that ship is? Well, Magnus kind of points in the rough direction of the sun. If half of it's there, well, the other half is either atomized, or Magnus points in the opposite direction. It's been pushed further out.
Or they simply hadn't constructed it yet.
No,
I'm
Sister Sarah, we believe this is the vessel that the Magos was on. The Archmagos that was sent to investigate the piece of archaeotech that...
It's an arc mechanicus. It could not be built to this planet.
That also.
These things are able to rival hive cities in size.
Question, GM. With my knowledge on the warp, will I ever hear the stories of ships emerging from the warp, not entirely like parts of the ship, only parts of the ship emerging?
A partial translation?
Those are possible in case part of the Geller field fails. The warp drive itself is not fully 100% operational. If the navigator had a stroke or something, if a warp incursion on the ship wrecked it in half. There's many tragic stories relating to ships simply being ripped apart inside the warp itself, usually ending up as space hulks. But not many of those relating to Arc Mechanicus. Those are mostly related to non-military civilian vessels or really old vessels.
Well, there is a slim chance that it simply did not fully emerge from the warp during transit, but that would be quite rare.
It's arc mechanics. The odds of such an event happening are so low as to be impossible. They would not risk the loss of so much technology just because of something minor, like an unrepaired fault in the Geller fields or the warp drive.
Nothing is impossible in the warp, but I take your point.
Also, Felicia's not looking distressed, but the moment you said the Arc Mechanicus might be the problem, she went from sad to nearly pissed. The mechadendroids were starting to move.
Magnus is looking over towards where the sun would be. He's not stupid enough to look directly at it. I'm sure there are.
Well, there's
Also,
polarized glass allowing you to look at it without going blind, so...
So using the sensor kind of things I got from it, does it look like the back's just one back half ripped off, or is it like the front half might be inside the star?
Its position would maybe indicate that the ship was ripped in half, and perhaps the front end of the ship has ended up inside the star. Sheer gravitational force is capable of doing such a thing even to an Arc Mechanicus.
So much technology lost.
You
Why?
see Magnus do a prayer of his house, which is what they would do when a knight falls and cannot be recovered.
I'm just thinking, is there a mechanics prayer for this?
Yeah, there's because a machine spirit is some Adeptus Mechanicus like go nuts and just fall in tears at the idea of we're player characters, so but there is a prayer for lost machine spirits and for them to return to the Omnissire's blessed workings in the stars or something along those lines.
But it is along the same lines as, like, Felicia is barely holding it together here. I will say that, like, at least to Magnus, it's clear that Felicia is barely hanging on.
Oh, and it's clear that Magnus understands the loss of such a massive machine spirit and the technology aboard, that he's definitely in a somber outlook at the moment. Not quite like the Mechanicus members on the ship and Felicia, but imagine a Mechanicus run vessel would re-enter real space in a star. There is...
As for, if I may, my tactical analysis of the situation,
Of course.
I would suggest a possibility that the Mechanicus jumped into the system, might have at one point been over the planet, when perhaps some hostile Xenos force or warp incursion happened, destroyed the ship and attempted to remove evidence by having it drift into the sun.
Magnus kind of
It would
mulls
explain the
over.
lack of debris of the auxiliary defense fleet as well.
That would take a... Magnus kind of looks at Felicia. That would take an awful lot of vessels to take all the debris. Even the larger parts. Just... Captain, is there no more sign of debris since we've got further in? Was that the only piece that we could find?
The only large piece we could possibly detect. Perhaps there is more debris around the sun, but it is too small to detect against the background radiation. I will also add that there are several gas giants in the system that could also have been used for the same possible attempt, being crushed by sheer gravitational force.
Very well. We shall note it in the ship's log for now as a possible means of their eradication of any evidence, but I am still I am still not quite with it. That would need a very large fleet.
That or a highly advanced one. Hence my suspicion that perhaps Xenos were involved.
Magnus nods to that. But I would definitely like to ensure that the shipyard can at least be reclaimed if possible.
Very well. Inquisitor, if I may, I suggest that we have a conference to discuss the possible threats that we could be dealing with here.
Yes.
The possibility of what particular Xenos race, or if perhaps a warp incursion might have done this. What kind of forces we would be looking at, what kind of technology we would be up against, what kind of numbers.
I agree. Come, let us head to the briefing room. Can all my acolytes please join me in the primary briefing room? Not my office, old man.
Why'd you say my name?
Just in case you wandered off to the... Well, we normally have our war council in the office, but in Magnus's office, but this time we're going to the... We're actually going to the proper room for these things.
I require there as well.
I'm gonna
Security.
I'm gonna look at Ted, then look at Magnus and say, well, this is a war council. Whatever you need to know, I'll tell you, but you can come along alone. I don't think.
My primary
So-
duty is mainly to protect the ship. If this is an unknown enemy, I believe it would indeed be in our best interest if I knew how to best counter it.
Well, Ted, if there's anything that is need to know only, I might not be able to tell you, but just come with me.
Very well.
Magnus will let Sister Latilla know when he can see her face to face, and he'll probably whisper it a little bit. Sister Latilla, you, or should I say, Interrogator Latilla, you can acquire your own acolytes. You know, it's within your power. Just as a...
That, that is indeed true. Oh my goodness, I keep forgetting things like that. But a year now, we're still quite new at this. I might make Ted one of my acolytes.
It's just a suggestion. If you wish him to know things, you have my full confidence that you will not allow any undesirables into our meetings.
Just give a grim smile and say, "Oh, don't worry. I will only pick suitable acolytes."
Magnus
Also,
will just
Magnus. Also, Magnus, you don't have to call me sister or interrogator. Just call me Latilla. I mean, we've been together for quite a long while now.
This is true, but call it a sense of whimsy at times. It brings back memories of home, titles, and all that. But I will remember that, Latilla.
I'll just smile.
So once everyone's in the briefing room, so I can more or less assure everyone this is not orcs we're dealing with. There is no way an orc fleet would be organized enough to remove evidence. The
Well,
Arc
not so much.
Mechanicus would not be sat in the sun if the orcs were here. I'm sure they
They
would have looted
looted it,
Yes.
most likely. Agreed. Do any other specifics in those forces come to mind?
I highly doubt the Gene Stealers would, again, would be deceptive enough to attempt something like this. A cult, maybe. The Raccoons were able to use the Gene Stealer servitors, but that would not, again, I think we can rule them out.
A Tyranid possible incursion would have left the planet with zero biomass. It is, however, not a purely inhospitable rock. It simply has no signs of life. Quite the opposite of what the genes of the cult or Tyranid High Fleet would wish to achieve.
I know of others, but only by name and what the Big Book of Evil told me. So if any of you have any other suggestions, by all means.
Can I roll general lore, Xenos?
Go ahead.
Can I roll my Lord Gene Stealers?
Go ahead.
Can I roll tech? Because I have it as forbidden.
Maybe.
You know what?
How much was the book? Plus
No.
10 or plus 20? Because I still have that book with me.
I have it.
Is it
in
not
my-
written? Did you not write it on where the book is?
Plus 20 if you have Forbidden Laws Xenos. If you're plus 10% dealing with Gene Stealers investigations, or plus 20 if you have Forbidden Laws Xenos. Specifically for Gene Stealers.
Yeah, I have that.
Also, I'm fading that because no. I do not accept that. Better.
Sarah, you quickly ponder the option of a genes cult, but the tiger does have a point. This would be the complete opposite of the genes' agenda. They would not attempt to blow up the vessels they are on. They would attempt to use them to spread to more worlds, start more cults, and eventually have a high fleet harvest the entire planet of all biomass and leave it in inhospitable rock. This is obviously not what has happened here. And the destruction of the ship would be in the worst interest of the Genus. This was probably not what had happened. And Latilla, you start thinking back of possible Xenos races that might be involved here. A possibility might you start assuming that perhaps a more technological advanced race than humanity might have been involved. Perhaps Eldar? But would they have been able to muster the forces to take on a full-on Arc Mechanicus? And why would they? Reasons are often enigmatic, but this would seem, though not the oddest target they have ever struck, still slightly out of the way. Nothing else immediately comes to mind.
Well, they are the Eldar. They are an ancient race that deals Well, they're highly advanced and they deal with subterfuge, but although they could do this seems a little bit odd to me that they would do it.
If the Eldar are involved, we must find out what their agenda was. They are an enigmatic race. They strike at places that we do not suspect, often hindering and also often aiding the Imperium, depending on if it best suits their own needs.
Just how long ago has this planet gone dark?
Can you repeat that?
Just how long ago has the planet gone dark?
At this point, you have had about a year of warp travel, if I recall correctly.
I think so. It was about that.
And when you left, the planet itself had been dark for about a month.
On the risk of sounding paranoid, Magnus, our esteemed cargo, has Eldar technology in it. Would it be possible that this is all a trap for it?
I should be able to look up at it and then down at Sister Sarah. And then back up at it and then down to Sister Sarah. If it scratches like his hairline, and it is possible, but that is why I've ensured its safety. He smiles at Sister Sarah.
So I'm just gonna turn to Synthesis and ask it, would Eldar be interested in capturing you?
Possible Xenos faction interested in acquiring the synthesis model would
Simple
include
yes or no answer, please.
Magnus holds his hand up to Sister Sarah. What other, answer Sister Sarah's question, but what other races might be interested in you?
Would you like
and
me
not
to?
the orcs. We know.
Would you like me to shorten the time at which it takes to list these down to maybe 2 minutes?
I could shorten the list if requested.
I meant more deliver it in the faster tongue, and then small spurting a binary. I'm referring to this.
It immediately just starts spewing binary at you. It basically says in a list possible Xenos factions with possible interest in acquiring the synthesis Mark IV unit would include the Eldar, Dark Eldar, Necrons, Tau, Crude, Vespid, Hrut. It just starts listing a bunch of Xenos species you've never heard of.
I'm writing them down though, and with them being like translated into Low Gothic or High Gothic, whichever's quicker, and then just slides list to Magnus. There you go.
It basically just starts listing of all Xenos races that are known to have at least spacefaring technology.
So it includes the orcs in there.
It includes, well, no, it doesn't include the orcs because Magnus told it not to include the orcs because they already knew that.
I have a question. Did Magnus or any of the other people ever tell Attila about Wraithbone? Because Wraithbone is Eldar technology, isn't it?
Yes, it is Eldar technology. I believe it's using. It's not using Wraithbone. It's using an Imperial.
No, it's using Wraithbone.
Nah, it stated flat out it's using Wraithbone.
Yeah, it's like one of the big reasons Felicia hates it is it's using Wraithbone.
Is it the other structure that's using an Imperial equivalent? Because I'm
because it's like
the the Mark 1 to 3 did not have any Xenos influence in it. After the catastrophe with the Mark 3, this was explained to you. In order to add some form of defense against demonic possession.
Okay, so I think I just got
beyond
confused.
simple-
Was it
yeah.
the latest synthesis, the one that's meant for a Primarch? That one, does that have Imperial made Wraithbone, or does that one still use?
Imperial made Wraithbone simply does not exist, but
Wraithbone's one of those things that like the Eldar make out of their craft world.
Yeah, it's a psychically
They grow it.
crafted.
I think it's probably Imperial made Wraithbone, quotation marks. They slapped on my quill on it. It's ours now.
they stole it from. They forced some Eldar to start growing this shit for them, and then said, "Okay, because we branded this particular Eldar and we branded the Wraithbone, it is now Imperial Wraithbone."
I'm surprised they haven't used Necrodermis.
Okay,
Or whether
no
the
no
thing
worries then.
was-
I've got my notes wrong then. Okay, so did anyone
But-
tell me that the Eldar were unlikely because they couldn't muster the strength?
No, they can, but it's unlikely that they would come after this.
Magnus-
We don't know a reason for them to do it, so they wouldn't have.
Magnus points to one of the names near the top of the list that he's heard of from the Big Book of Evil, but doesn't actually know anything of. Who are the Necrons? I know the name, but
Can I roll Forbidden Law Adeptus to Mechanicus to know if I know of some of the more out there Necron tech? Because there are mechanics people who use Necron tech. Like, this is Imperial designs. We found it on a Lost Forge
sure.
roll.
Is there anything in Tactica Imperialis
And,
that would treat about the Necrons?
Actually, no, I'm not gonna
Perhaps
say-
you could roll it. These would all have pretty high thresholds, but
Yeah, I just wanted to try.
And you fail 100% rolls, you don't take.
Exactly. And you got it no matter what, pretty much.
I mean, that was a
Um,
good roll.
Tactica Imperialis, there is a specific versions given to specific regiments that have been ordered to attack the worlds designated as tomb worlds. But that's pretty much all you know of it.
Well, some Imperial Guard regiments have combated them on some supposed tomb worlds, but I don't know what any of that means.
Possible this is also an act of treason somehow.
It would be highly unlikely. The auxiliary fleet consisted of at most 5 vessels smaller than this one.
An Arc Mechanics is capable of taking on fleets when they are at their most. It would take either fleet or betrayal from within, and you would not discard such a ship as an Arc Mechanicus lightly. You'd turn it against its fellows and then take it into deep space where you can strip it for parts. And this is assuming that pirates were somehow on board, which would be the best of choices in terms of betrayal.
Request still active. Identification of Xenos species known as Necrons. Is this information still requested?
yes, it is.
Databanks accessing data relating to Xenos species known as Necrons. Information vault low on data. Basic knowledge of Necrons. Species comprised of mostly mechanical constructs appear to possess abominable intelligence. Higher functioning Necrons capable of fully sentient decisions. Records indicate species is millennia older than mankind. That is all.
Magnus kind of looks at him like, the fuck, that's it? Oh, for fuck's sake, okay, fine. Well,
He said his information vault was low. This model does not have much information on Necrons.
well, I suppose until we see some battle damage, we won't know. Once we actually can get some scans involved to give us a bit more information, we'll just prepare for a general concursion. Magnus is kind of puts down a low stick. We'll just work with a general incursion and a warp incursion for now. Tiger, how can your vessel best serve us for a, well, for now, let's just say a vessel-to-vessel encounter?
We have several broadsides, forward torpedo launchers that can be loaded with either standard payloads or, well, both the broadsides and the forward torpedo launchers are capable of launching boarding torpedoes.
Excellent. So keeping you in the dark, sensor-wise, will definitely work out to our favor. Should a warp incursion happen, it'll be down to your men that are aboard the vessel to aid the ship's garrison in order to bolster our defense.
Sounds like you might be hiding something, the way you said that then, Magnus.
Hide and what?
Well, you just said keeping them in the dark, and then you awkwardly changed it to in regards to ships.
Magnus kind of looks up, ponders, looks at the old man, and then looks to Tiger. That was not my intention, but
The way I understood it is that you mean to keep our ship in the dark as basically a surprise for any potential hostile forces.
yes, and hearing about the multitude of weapons array that you can bring to bear, it turned out to be quite fortuitous. That was mine. Magnus kind of looks at Tiger, giving him an approving nod, and then just looks at the old man and gives a little shake of the head and narrowing of the eyes.
Well then, should we attempt to make landfall?
No, not yet. I would like to investigate the shipyard first. If it is simply abandoned, we could bring its sensors online to see what it saw before setting down. For all we know, it could be contaminated with any number of diseases.
Would you perhaps like a squad of my men to investigate alongside you?
Yes, I believe that would be wise. When we investigate the shipyard, if you send a strike vessel, or if you, I believe you had a strike vessel, when you sent your men over. If you were to use that and escort our gunship, That would definitely be a boon.
Would you have a specific number of troops or specialization in mind?
I will leave that in your hands. You know your men better than anyone else. If you wish to be on the away team, by all means, that is your prerogative to choose.
I feel as if my men would probably require my guidance at this time. I will not join you on the station.
Very well.
I will go and prepare a squad for you.
Excellent. Sister Latilla, ensure that that your men work with God damn it, where's their name? I put it here somewhere. It's in the other page.
Oh god. Yeah, could you repeat that? My connection crapped out for a second.
Sister Latilla, if you could get your men to work with the Emperor's Knights, Tiger's men, ensure they're preparing for, well, at this stage, bloody well anything. Ensure that they're prepared. Anything could happen at this stage, and I don't want to have our guard down. No, we've not lost another one. My interrogator, no.
She walks off with
The Necrons. They're infiltrating.
people.
Synthesis, what have you done?
Synthesis eye starts glowing
I
red.
think my MS was up.
Sorry, it's in the law now. Synthesis has taken you over, Latilla. You are now his.
Oh.
Now, but back to what actually is happening. The tiger walks out of
I think I got the general juice of. Oh god, it's still bugging out, isn't it?
Prepare your men, basically. Get them ready to work with the
Yeah.
legionaries.
I get the general juice. I'm just gonna look at that and say, well, then, get on it.
Yes, ma'am. He looks slightly, not slightly. He just looks very intimidated by the tiger, so he just follows the tiger to help do that.
I'm gonna be checking up on you soon, Ted. Make sure everything's working hunky dory.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am.
I need to make sure Ted is more scared of me than Tiger in the future.
We've got one legionary for every 500 men? No, not 500.
currently
Not
have
500 for every 5 men.
You currently have 10,000 legionnaires with you, so.
Sorry, it's one legionnaire for every 50 men. Yeah, because we've got 5,000 soldiers and 100 legionnaires.
On board the ship, yeah. On board the ship,
Yes. Yeah, I'm not counting the ones in the other vessel. They're their own. They're their own entity altogether. So I would also say to the captain to inform me as soon as you have better auger array pictures or pic feed of the shipyard. I'd like to see what condition that's in. Obviously, if that's blown to hell, then Magnus gets a bit of a sad face, looks a bit of a dour face on his, gets a bit of a dour look on his face. Then, well, this venture may have lost more than it will gain. I believe that Magnus will look round to the rest of the group, whoever's here. I believe that is all. Old man, once we get closer to the... Well, once we get to the shipyard, can you test the immaterium again and see if anything bad happened here on that side of things?
Old man's passed out in the corner, apparently.
Nah, I'll ask him once we get to the space station. It'll be fine.
Just one small question. In the scans, was there anything to was there anything of notice about the station? Because the station kind of creeped me out.
I think we're too
The
far out.
station is an orbital shipyard that currently has a half-finished Luna class cruiser in it.
I can still hear that creepy man's voice on that last time we were stuck on a planet.
That was a space station. This is a shipyard. Two very different things, Latilla. Magnus smiles.
I can still be creeped out, can't I?
Oh,
What I
but of
missed.
course. As far as I'm aware, not too much. We've just been talking to Tiger, telling him to get a. He's going to have a unit of men come with us when we investigate the space station, the shipyard.
My internet's still crapping out here and there, and it's now on my end instead of the wireless, so I only caught Talon and Shipyard.
We talked to Tiger, and we're going to have a unit of men come with us in their own shuttle to the shipyard when we go to investigate.
Okay. Thank you.
So I believe that's everything to go over until we actually get detailed images and scans of the shipyard to see if it's had any battle damage. It's still a waiting game, it seems.
Am I to come on this mission with you?
By the throne, I mean...
I'm gonna look at Magnus and say, it's probably best if we know what he is capable of doing, but we should make sure to disguise him as one of us, if at all possible.
Felicia's still giving it suspicious looks. This thing's made of heretical designs.
Piece of note: its nails are still painted, and it's wearing a cloak.
Can we get it a uniform? Will it fit into a guard's uniform? You know, dress it up as one of the crew.
It's about the size of an Astartes, so no.
Man, she's got an infinite number of reasons to distrust this thing.
I'm gonna look around and say, I mean, maybe if we give him an Ogren armor, I don't think he's going to fit inside an IG Guardsman standard uniform.
I don't believe we have any Ogrins stationed aboard. There's not been enough accidental damages to habitable blocks for that.
I wish we did. I love Ogrins. They're good people. Send them
We'd
into the
have-
front line and they just do havoc. But, yeah, I don't think the Raccoons would have their ilk on board
Yeah.
somehow.
We'd have to double the size of every main corridor just to fit one of them in.
True. I suppose
Please
they'll
do
have
no.
to come with us. I mean, it's safest under our preview. If we leave it on board ship, even if I surround 1,000 men around it. I mean, in all honesty, the safest place would probably be aboard Tiger's ship, but then it's out of my eyesight, and
Probably not a good idea. It's no offense to Tiger or his troops, but I think if we know what it is doing at all times, it's probably safer.
yeah, I do feel I shouldn't pass the buck when it comes to him. I truly do feel like the Lord Inquisitor will be most disappointed if I just pawn it off onto someone else. Huh. Magnus looks at Sister Sarah. Sorry about that.
So
Besides-
I just shake my head.
Besides, I need to keep his nails painted with the sigils of the Emperor.
Why? Why did you do this in the first place?
Because he looks pretty that way.
You're treating it like an individual. Don't.
Hey, sure, it looks better with the nails painted, don't you think?
It hasn't needed aesthetics. It's a machine. It does not need to look pretty.
It does to me, Felicia. Hold on. I'm gonna go check up on Ted. There isn't anything up until we reach that scrapyard, or not scrapyard, that space station or shipyard. I don't think there's anything else you need to discuss, is there?
No, you're free to go, Latilla.
Uh, I was muted. Lovely. I will be passing by your office later on if you don't mind, Magnus. I do need to brush up on my Xenos knowledge.
But of course, I'm sure you'll find me there.
Well, if you will excuse me, I give a small bow. I'll leave and I'll go find Ted to make sure he's, more intimidated by me than Tiger.
Magnus microbeats the chef and tells him to take he orders some food for to be taken to his study before standing up. By all means, I'll be in my study. I will call you all once we're actually at the space station. God damn it, Latilla. Emperor, damn it, Latilla. Once we're at the shipyard. Magnus will kind of click his heels together and give a little bow. Probably it's just like Felicia and the old man just keeled over and Sister Sarah staring daggers at me. I
No,
make
it's
my
not
way.
daggers. I just accepted.
Unfortunately,
That is synthesis.
Unfortunately, Felicia's too busy glaring at synthesis. She really doesn't like Xenos design. If she had a baleful eye, it'd be firing right now. From both eyes, even the one that doesn't have one. Well then, old man, let's get you into your power armor.
But this don't take too long.
If we were doing this at the rate of putting you into new power armor specifically designed for you for the first time, it would take a 3-hour ceremony. A good chunk of this would be making sure the machine spirit is properly attuned to you and ready to satisfy all your needs.
You might notice that Alftane's eyes are already glazing over. And it's like his mouth's like slowly opening as if he's about to just go out and stare into nothingness.
Thankfully, it will only take you the 10 minutes that it takes everybody else to put on the armor in the first place, and the 5 minutes for the machine spirit to be completely attuned to your state once more. After all, it lacks the typical helmet that they benefit from. Let us go then.
I'll just shrug and follow you.
As we get down to it, you are aware that it's made using designs that are not Imperial, correct? She's clearly not talking about the power armor. Old man,
Hello?
you are aware that she's emphasizing it, is not made using Imperial designs, right? It's made out of Xenos technology.
He'll sort of like awkwardly stare at you for a few seconds as if he's trying to read the situation, and I'll go, I guess I'll have to put up with it then.
It I can tolerate for the moment, but what it stands for, I cannot. That's one in many of an attempts to make a body for a being that claims to be Lorgar Aurelian. By the way, we're in like my private room, putting his armor together on him.
I understood as much.
I worry that the Lord Inquisitor is going too far, messing with things he does not understand.
I'll sort of raise an eyebrow and go, well, it's not my place to say.
No, but I want to make sure that you're ready and that we have and I wish to ask for your aid in getting a message out to someone.
It's time to mind link. Sorry about this, Dylan.
I was gonna say, if Ovtane asks, she's failing. If Ovtane asks to mind link, Felicia chooses to fail.
I'm going to read your mind though, so it's okay.
Alftain slowly raises his hand to Felicia's face, caressing her cheek gently. Before sticking his
God.
finger in her ear.
Is that from Lusty Martian Tech Priest?
But, oh god.
No, then it will be a mech android.
Anyway, so does Ovtane ask before he reads her mind?
Nope.
Well, I guess I gotta roll to resist.
I just sort of look at you, raise an eyebrow, and then instantly you suddenly
read
feel
it.
this pressure on your mind.
And you get all of Felicia. What psi rating was that?
4.
Yeah, is that high enough psi rating with like, enough effective degree of success to get what Felicia's thinking about that thing and like at least some of the scene from when we were in that room with the Lord Inquisitor? Because that's currently what she's trying to convey, so it's on the forefront of her mind.
I'm not sure if that would be anything subconscious, but it's up to the GM, so.
Let me think here.
because
So
it's
star
reading
rating 1 is
surface
just
thoughts.
surface thoughts, and then like star rating 10 is just like everything that she's
Yeah.
thought within a certain amount of time.
Star rating 10 is basically the mind rate power, but in one turn. Because
Like
astropaths
everything's
can do that.
subconscious. Like even if she doesn't know she's thinking about something, if I cast it at star rate 10, then I'll know and she won't.
Nature of information gained. More degrees of success scored on the focused power test, the more information is gained. For roll, the higher the psi rating of the power, the more secretive the information gained. So you scored 4 degrees of success. So that is constituting how much information you gather. You have a psi rating of 4, which is going to constitute how secretive the information is.
So the star rating is how secretive, and the success rate is how much?
Yeah, Star rating is how deep you go. 6 degrees success is how much you gather.
So this would be a situation where he will be attempting to access the your memory, the moments where you were seeing all the different synthesis models, wasn't it? Or
That's currently what's on Felicia's mind, yes.
okay. That means that he would get a glimpse of all of the models that were currently there. But the audio is basically not fully there. So often you get essentially a vision of all the different models of synthesis that there exist.
And because of how much I failed, I do not know a thing.
So there's nothing about betraying Magnus then? Or if she's going to react to anything that Magnus does in a negative way?
It's one of those where, at least surface thoughts wise, she's concerned for Magnus. I'll quickly PM you like the motivations in what she's doing.
Okay.
But simply put, she's worried Magnus is in over his head.
Probably is.
I'm probably just thinking, wow, this is not as fun as anything I've ever tried to read before.
There you go. Dear, I do not like it, and I'm even more concerned that it's attempting to be a host for a soul. I don't know.
By the way, would your character mention anything about the sudden pressure on the head? I think
I'm
you
going
can feel
with.
that
I
the
was
fact
gonna
that
say.
Saratin's happening.
I think considering how badly I failed that test, I'm pretty sure I don't notice. I rolled a 98 on the resistance here.
Okay.
Strictly speaking, it's one of those, you can feel it, but if you completely fuck up the resistance, you don't notice a thing. Also, you've kind of got to be aware of it in the first place to fail and feel it if you're not already a psyker. I'm Mechanicus. I don't know psychic powers. I might put it down to stress.
Yes.
And yeah,
Shall we skip forward to when you get onto the vessel or not? Does anybody else want to do something?
I'm alright for that.
I'm good with that.
Yeah,
Magnus would be
it'd be-
eating.
it'll be more Felicia still trying quite ineptly to get her point across. She's worried about that thing and that it's one in a design to make Lorgar, something claiming to be Lorgar, and then Ulftain like, yeah. Not revealing he read her mind. He already knows a good chunk of this.
At one point, I accidentally say what you were about to say, and I'm like, what? When you're thinking, oh, what? And then you might think, oh, does he agree with me?
Unfortunately, she's a bit too paranoid to think you agree with her. She thinks you're humoring her. Like, you're humoring her with going through the rites. We even get the litany of ignition done. So yeah, we go to the thing.
He'll probably take a flask or something with him, but he won't. He won't drink. Don't worry. So normal then.
So, the Tiger will have informed from his own ship that he is sending a squad of 6 standard legionnaires. There's nothing weird that happens, except the fact that you keep glaring at synthesis in your shuttle.
Because I think I'm the pilot most of the time. My mechadendrite's glaring at synthesis.
Yeah, which is weird that your mechadendrite keeps looking the other way, looking at synthesis.
It's got to make sure synthesis doesn't do anything. You can't trust those Xenos designs. Their machine spirits are unpredictable.
It is sitting completely and utterly still.
It's up to something.
They're Xenos. Do they even have the machine spirit?
Under the Mechanicus, the Orcs have machine spirits, but they're forced into doing whatever the hell they do. And I don't know about the Eldar and stuff, just that they're weird and alien.
Depends on which Mechanicus you talk to half the time.
Yeah, that's the problem.
True.
It's even worse inside the Mechanicus with, does this have a machine spirit? Because Mechanicus owns it for long enough, yeah, it does. If an Orc has just dropped a rock on the floor that for some reason acts as a grenade, does that have a machine spirit? No. It's a rock that explodes.
So
We still don't understand why.
technically, it's like an auto pistol does not have a machine spirit in it, but a bolter does, because a bolter has technology in it, and each bolt shell has a machine spirit in it because they need to have sensors to know when to impact, when to explode, when to... It depends on how technologically advanced it is. Most shit we think of in today's terms of mechanical wouldn't have a machine spirit, but anything technological, PCs and such, would. It gets a bit iffy when you come to vehicles because they've got a plasma reactor in them most of the time. So that's where it gets real iffy from what I've learnt from the books and stuff.
It's even more iffy in that, like, strictly speaking, las weapons have a machine
Yes, they
spirit,
do.
but it's like, you don't replace the battery properly, machine spirit stops working.
Yes.
It's all stuff which is literally, gun jams the way a gun would normally jam. We just say its machine spirit stopped working for you, because it's mad.
and the shuttle from the Emperor's Knights. Both land roughly in the same area. Open up, unload their personnel. You're now standing on a It
Before
appears that the airlock filter that you managed to come through still worked.
would we be of being able to see the space station as we were flying towards it? Could we see any battle damage?
You would notice
Oh yeah,
if
about
you roll
halfway, can I use
awareness.
sanity?
Sure.
On the shell, there is not enough space, so I would be interfering with your psychic powers.
Doesn't stop its omniscience.
Doesn't stop omniscience, does however lower the amount of things he can sense.
Three points of psi rating if that translates to anything on Omniscience, which it probably
It doesn't. It
Oh, I
technically makes
still only
him
have
harder to
silence.
sense.
Sarah's presence blocks out your ability to look into the warp, but as you're flying towards the station, nothing really stands out from what you can still tell of the warp. Felicia, as you look out the front cockpit, you notice that there is indeed minor battle damage to the outside of the shipyard.
Everyone be on their guard. And Duke Kane's about as big as the seat.
Ah, wait, is there a strap though? Or can he just like undo it and just like slump down a bit?
Synthesis is really awkward about the fact that the seat is actually too small for him.
Like, since it's only a little bit bigger than you.
Okay, I'll still just sit there with his arms crossed and his eyes closed then. Irritated by a certain someone, but not trying to show it.
It is a not trying to show it, which means showing it obviously.
You might have to roll scrutiny to pick up on it, but if you pass it, you'll
I'm not in
find
the
out.
room. And when I did like the whole look at the station, I took my mechadendrite off of watching synthesis to get extra vision.
It's quite a long flight though.
It is. But I'm still watching synthesis for most of the flight. But yeah, so we get there, I warn everybody about the energy weapons, and then we go to land and get out. And Magnus sees nothing.
Magnus's view is blocked by Synthesis sitting in a way.
Magnus lights up a low stick, as I expected. Try to crane over and just like, no.
And then we land, we get out.
Indeed.
I'm gonna scan for energy signatures nearby.
Okay.
Good thing I have an aura array, right? It's not far, but it'll let me know if the station's on.
Magnus will just look around.
The station as a whole is not active, but certain small machines still work, so there's still atmosphere being cycled.
So at least in the distance I can sense using my auger rates, very little of it's actually on except for atmospherics.
It basically means that the system is on minimal energy usage and it's cycling life support, yeah. Magnus, you just see empty station with a lot of stuff covered in dust.
Okay,
And then
team. I guess it's time to disembark. Brother Felicia, is there's still power? Or will we have to head to, will we have to take some way to power up systems to...
Systems are on minimal power draw at the moment, so the only systems I'm aware online would be the basic life support. And I would not guarantee that it is working in non-critical sections. If you just let the sisters go first, then we should know that the armor should be void capable for at least short periods of time.
Sure. Magnus will comm. He'll use the shuttle that we're in. He'll use the comms from that to talk to the Legionnaires who are with us. This is Magnus Bloodstone. We will be disembarking. We'd like you to act as our forward scouts, just to ensure that the areas have atmosphere. Your suits will ensure that you will be able to breathe and no harm will come to you.
Very well, my lord.
Very well. Let us all disembark. Magnus looks round and opens the, or gets Brother Felicia to open the ramp.
I assume there's a button, because you wouldn't have a landing ramp without at least some method of opening it from the ramp, just in case the pilot dies.
True.
Especially if the pilot dies, the whole cockpit exploded.
Magnus hits the button and... So, well, except for it looking dusty as hell in here, I don't see any bodies or any explosive damage, so let's get moving to, Magnus will look at Brother Felicia to the bridge, I guess.
Either that or the character. It would be like the primary engineering to restore power, right? I can't remember where it'd be on a station. The reactor? My brain's failing me at the moment.
If it's drawing minimal power for over a year, I imagine the reactors, the plasma reactor or whatever, must be ticking over. Well, I suppose it could have solar panels if they exist. But if we go to the bridge, we might just be able to push a button to bring it online. But then we can send Legionnaires down there.
Either there or down to the plasma reactor. There's no guarantee that the bridge will have the equipment ready to immediately bring the station to full power again.
True, but I would like to secure the bridge first. If we have to leave suddenly, we might be able to get the recording data that should be housed in the bridge.
Very well. And when we get off, I'm gonna awareness to see the state of everything as well. and I'm not pushing my luck with 3 rerolls on that.
All right. So what specifically were you looking for, or this is just general awareness?
Yeah, it's just getting an awareness of the place around me without looking at it through glass or whatever the hell the cockpit's made out of.
Oh wait, so you haven't left your vehicle yet?
It's like when we get out, I do the awareness.
Okay. How much to say? Most things seem deactivated. There's no lights on. A lot of stuff seems to be covered in dust. So oddly, you notice not as much dust as you would have expected if this place was abandoned for over a year.
Less dust than expected. Perhaps the recycling units are still drawing, or they have not died as recently as records would indicate. Either way, who here has a glow globe or a pick light? Because I assume the lights are bad.
Does our power
do.
armor have flashlights?
I know all things won't, but I don't think light power armor comes with it either.
I have 2.
Technically, I have 1 because my optical mechadendrite has like every color of pick light on the end. It even has some in infrared, which is how I see in the dark.
Emperor's Son Squadron, can you make yourselves known to me so it's a little easier to communicate? Sorry, Emperor's Knights. Who are the Emperor's Knights? Yes, I did.
The Emperor's Knights, they have basically small flashlights in their helmets.
I would like for one of you fine gentlemen to remain with my squad. The other 5 of you, you have free reign.
Synthesis can also activate his main eye to act as a pretty bright flashlight.
And the other 5 of you have free reign to scout on ahead of us. We will be making our way to the bridge, so we would appreciate your support in this. Sorry, that was me.
Yeah, it's fine. They're rats with wings. You can't stop them any more than I can stop geese from picking a fight.
It was just a comical remark.
Okay. The Emperor's Knights start heading into the vessel.
And one stays with us. He'll be at the front with me. I imagine the order... Well, yeah, it'll be whichever Emperor's Knight is with me. Synthesis should stay in the middle or behind, like wherever Brother Felicia chooses to go. There should be a person and then Synthesis. Keep a bit of breathing space in there.
You just want to keep her separate from it in case she tries to kill it.
Does he need to activate his flashlight, or do you tell him not to?
No, he can activate his flashlight until we go dark. Magnus has 2 glow globes, but they only last 6 hours, so I'm going to just use one of them.
Also, I can recharge them, remember?
Aren't they one use? Like after 6 hours, they're
No,
dead.
you can recharge them. You can recharge them or replace the batteries.
Oh, okay.
and I've got the equipment to recharge pretty much anything, just with penalties if I try and like recharge an entire landing platform. Which the book has, like restarting the landing computers.
I will probably keep one just in case the other one gets broken. So Magnus has got one.
But I think, provided Sarah hasn't given it away, at the very least, everybody except maybe Olftane has a stab light. And I'm gonna check Olftane's background, see if he would have one. And he should have got to put it on his sheet. So I'm assuming he's Astra Telepathica.
There'd be more than enough light, even if he doesn't have one.
Yeah, he's. No, wait, he's not got one.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's more than enough light going around. Plus, I think Olftane's probably got the powers to make light.
Unless I keep throwing out. No, I don't think I have. I don't have any psychic magic spells. Or do shields give off power?
No.
Oh, I guess not.
Do you have like the very first power in the pyromancy tree?
Nope.
Damn. If you had that or the minor power, you'd be able to just like have a little flame in your hand.
I mean, I think Magnus and Attila have Zippos, so
Oh well.
Space Marine wannabes is with us, so he can use his helmet and his power pack.
I just love that, technically speaking, I don't even need to use my stab light. I can see normally.
They heading in a completely separate direction.
No, they're scouting for us. We're heading to the bridge. And that's also why I've got another one with us, so he understands their speak, their code.
Also, if he gets to see Synthesis's head, depending on if he reacts kind of like a "what the fuck is that," he gets like a nice "I feel for you" pat on the shoulder.
He looks at Synthesis and just like, and looks away again. He doesn't really have. He has a helmet on, but he doesn't. None of the
He doesn't like recoil or anything.
none of the Emperor's Knight really recoiled when you brought it with you. It's like, yeah, no reaction whatsoever. Non-visible reactions, as far as you can see. Do any of you have your weapons drawn at the moment?
yep, Attila has hers.
Definitely.
There's a
Magnus
Desolium
does.
power.
Technically, yeah.
Until I attack, do I have to like actively draw a Desolium Power Blade, or is it like I can draw it in the middle of an attack with it?
It doesn't require an action to activate. It's just like, set.
Yeah, then technically I have a weapon drawn. Then again, I have a whole bunch of weapons ready.
The Emperor's Knight at the front. The Legionnaire at the front has his bolter ready. Synthesis at this also has his power maul in one of his hands.
I think it might be Felicia's second because she's also able to see further ahead, and she's better for watching out for an ambush ahead of us.
How often, or would we?
What are the intervals? How long between checks? Like, do you check every half hour, every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, every hour?
Well, we'd be heading on the same path. I'd have them report in anything suspicious. Like, I don't want to be like, it's Magnus here, what's going on? And they've already encountered a couple of suspicious things and gone, well, it'll be fine. No, I know that won't happen, but...
It's also like, just to make sure they're alive, do we check every so often? You know, because we're not maintaining radio silence, so are you guys still alive, scouts?
Oh yeah, I haven't told them
Yes, we are.
I haven't told them to maintain radio silence. They're scouting
That's why-
and relaying.
That's why Jay's asking how often do we check with them?
Also, are you still in contact with the ship?
We have Vox units. We have 3 of them walking with us at the moment.
I don't think Duke's power armor has a Vox.
I was talking
unless you
about the
have
big guy.
Centipede? I don't think Centipede has
No,
one.
the big
does it?
guy.
No, there's a legionnaire with
That's right.
us.
Sorry. I forgot the Legionnaire.
For every... I'd probably say the first hour, there would be a report back to the ship, just to say, all clear so far, heading to the bridge. All clear so far. Investigating.
Okay, and they're still scanning the surrounding space, right?
Yes. And the Tiger ship is still staying in radio silence.
Running silent. Yeah.
Yeah, running silent rather.
About 1 hour in, out party, we have just discovered that apparently a vessel of unknown description is docked with the station. We cannot get a complete fix on it. It appears to have some sort of sensor jamming technology on it. It is why we've only just picked it up. Should we open fire on it?
We best not risk it while we're aboard the station.
Negative on that. Keep sensors. Act as if you have not seen them, but keep an eye on them. Inform Tiger ship silently if you can. Inform him he is to act freely on his positioning, but not to engage the unknown vessel until it tries to escape. If it undocks and tries to flee, you both have permission to attempt to stop it. I wish to find out who is trespassing on the God Emperor's property. However,
Well, we should.
I am concerned that if whoever is on that ship is able to take over the facility's defensive arrays, that would be a problem. Legionnaire, inform 3 of your brothers to continue to the bridge. They are to remain as concealed as they can, and to report back any findings. Your other two brothers will return to our position, and they will begin to scout for us as we go down to the this unknown vessel.
Hmm. Very well, sir. We will be splitting up then.
Yes, it goes against my better judgment, but I do not want the bridge to be in enemy hands. If it is, and your brothers can help it, have them inform us before they engage, and we will immediately come to assist them however we can.
All right. So you send 3 to the vessel and 2 still to the bridge, or the way around?
Nope, 3 to the bridge and 2 to the vessel, but the 2 for the vessel are scouting for us. We're going to redirect our party down to the vessel.
All right. Another half an hour passes uneventfully when suddenly a message comes through. So, I think we have found evidence of traps in the area. We're not uncertain where, but my gut feeling's saying something's wrong about the area here.
If
Suddenly you hear gunfire of weapons you do not recognize, and immediate returning bolts of fire as well, and the comm cuts off.
redirect now. Magnus will comm the 2 scouts in front of us.
I know those were the ones that you got the message from.
Oh, the 2 in front of us. Okay, right, fair enough. Magnus will stop the party, inform the knights who are heading to the bridge. Knights, be wary. There seem to be traps on the station. We've lost contact with your brothers who were scouting for us. Proceed with caution. Take up a defensive. Where are we? Are we in a corridor?
Yeah.
Would it not be prudent to reinforce them?
Yes, we're moving now. People prepare for combat. Magnus looks up at the knight with us. Stay by our side so you can inform your brothers if they have to redirect. I'm hoping they just got the drop on them.
And I'll be keeping an eye out for traps, using all of my skills.
Sure. I'm having some characters roll awareness here.
By the way, how far away were the scouts from us? Because Magnus would have turned his field on. His.
They were about 3 kilometers ahead of you.
Man, that's not scouting anymore.
I didn't.
What would be the range that you wanted to be in?
Like, I would have thought like no more than like 10, 15 minutes ahead of us, so that we can.
That for them is 10, 15 minutes.
It's a station with straight lines, and we're trained soldiers. It's like it takes me half hour to walk 2 miles, which is about 2.5. Actually, yeah, about.
We're all rolling awareness.
I'll just do a conversion on the. Yeah, I do about 2 miles in half hour, and a trained soldier can do that in half the time.
Specifically, if anybody has paranoia, they can roll awareness.
And I was looking for traps, so I get to roll.
Disregard my roll.
So, we'll use a time measurement for us to catch up to them. How long is it going to take? If we're moving cautiously.
If we assume they move we move at about normal average human walking speed, half hour at most, because that's how fast I walk. The distance we were given.
You heard an explosion in the distance.
I don't have paranoia. Should I still roll awareness?
Is this a default paranoia thing that you don't have that?
I am paranoid naturally, but I don't think I have paranoia.
Are you a death welder?
This is the awareness against being this is
Awareness against being surprised, you mean?
yeah.
Oh, I have constant
Oh,
vigilance.
then
I
no, I
can
don't.
actually roll
Then
for
I'm
this.
not
I
gonna
have
do that.
constant vigilance.
Okay, so Felicia rolled. Synthesis rolled twice, failed both of them. Legionnaire rolled once, failed. Felicia. Anybody else has constant vigilance or the other
It's
thing?
yeah, constant vigilance isn't strict. Actually, it doesn't actually cover it. But I was already looking for traps,
Okay.
which I
Okay,
think.
but in that case, your awareness would specifically count for traps.
Oh, because it had been like traps and ambushes. Because a trap is also an ambush.
It's sort of different. Anyway.
Well, I'll still be rolling insane initiative against this.
Can I have my field on?
If you wanted after the message that the other had been ambushed, then yes.
Yeah, in my mind they were close enough that we could easily go up and assist them. So it would be field on, charge up, and they would, we would be in sight of them.
Congratulations.
My field is also on now that we are rushing in.
Okay.
Yeah, so would mine.
No, we're not rushing in, guys. We've walked into a trap. So when we heard the scout team get explodified and shot at, field on, I'm pretty sure we've just been surprised though.
Anyway, want to, you may roll a dodge.
Okie dokie, I can try that. I can try. And I can fail.
Okay. Would everyone that has a protective field please roll theirs?
Because everybody else turned them on, I'd turn mine on.
Okay, and
I have one,
everybody
right?
who has a protective field can turn theirs on.
What's that?
I have one, right?
Mine failed.
No. Unless
Mine
you have a
failed.
refractor field or something, which I don't think we ever gave you one.
Nope.
Felicia is the first one to get hit, and something flashes against your flashes against you, and I need to roll this damage real quick here. So it's 6 damage against the shield, so just and suddenly just something splinters against your field. Everybody else,
Splinters. I don't like that.
Didn't you already have a helmet?
Nope.
Ooh.
Yeah, he go die.
He's not going to die from that.
Yeah, he won't.
Taking away my toughness, I take 4 damage.
It's the poison that might come after
Yeah.
that could.
Mm-hmm.
okay, so this is just it's 4 damage you take then. Okay, this weapon has a toxic 1 quality.
Yep, it's Dark Eldar.
Do you know how to resist against toxic?
Toughness minus 10. I'm actually wishing it hit me, because at least I have a decent chance of surviving it.
Get fucked.
Oh, he did it.
You succeed as you feel something just as you feel a substance from the shard entering your body, but you just almost psychically you just blast it all out of your own veins.
It
Then
does.
3 to the head.
Oh yeah, there's a pen 3. Good point. Good point. It does 3 damage to me. So I
Okay.
will do the toughness test first.
Ooh.
I am. I'm going to use a fate point. So hang on, let me just double check. Did you say at the end of last session that the time we spent in the warp, we would get a fate refresh for this session?
Yeah, you have a full fate refresh.
I will definitely attempt that again.
You're avoiding the 1d10 unresisted damage.
Trying to. Nope.
No.
Nope, the God Emperor is not with me this time. Why did the target go up? Oh, I did a plus 10,
You
sorry.
gave it a plus 10 instead of minus.
1d10, here it comes.
Alright. Do I need to roll that now, or
Yeah, it's damage he takes alongside the original attack.
Yeah.
at the end of his turn, if a character has suffered damage after armor toughness bonus in the last round from a weapon whose quality,
Oh, yeah.
so at the end of the turn. But because it's a surprise round, that means you immediately need to roll 1d10. Yeah.
Do you want me to do it, or are you going to do it?
I'll roll.
Cool. Emperor, yes. Thank you, God Emperor.
You take 1 point of unresisted damage. Latilla,
Yep.
5.3 to
Sorry.
the head.
Sorry. Did something just hit me? I couldn't really tell.
5.3 to the head.
No, he's making a joke.
I'm making a joke.
Just
Fucking
something,
sororitas.
something pings off.
Pings off my helmet. I'm like, what? And then I see everybody taking shots to the head. I'm like, oh shit.
You just see a dart poking out of Magnus's head as he's like, what the f-?
You've also got Felicia, who's just ding, and then it like pings off to somewhere.
Does anyone see a dart go into Ulftane's head and then it shoots back out as well as a bit of blood and some weird purple substance?
Yes.
I would, which is why I would be like, oh shit.
Felicia, didn't you say you were at the front of the group? Or like you were closer to the front, whereas I think Ulftane's
Yeah.
further back.
I can still see in every direction, though.
Sister, do I pull it out or leave it in?
Leave it in. Don't pull anything out.
And with that, gonna end the session.
Aw.
Too late, I say. Starting to feel a bit daisy.
It went straight through. You're fine.
Well, with that cliffhanger of an episode, it looks like we're leaving it there. So in the next episode, we can look forwards to fighting some filthy Xenos and claiming their gear afterwards. So,
250 XP.
I hope you've enjoyed this
Have a lot of
episode,
Spikes.
and I look forward
Yeah.
to seeing you in the next one. So, take care, everyone, and as always, bye-bye for now.
Bye bye.
See ya.
So